station. Sponsored by MTN. MTN. Everywhere you go.
So what if somebody did ask you, what is limiting you from having a thriving relationship? Because lately, everyone is saying that relationships are very hard. And today we want to have this candid conversation. We have a counselor who is in the studios with us. He is a marriage and family therapist. You might want to pay us some money at the end of the show because we want to speak directly into the situation where you are at. You are with your husband in the car, you're taking your children to school, but you are not talking because apparently you have a situation that is underlying which has limited your communication. Or maybe you were contemplating getting married and now you've chosen to cancel out because there are things you cannot agree upon. We have Christian who is joining us here. Good morning, Christian, and welcome to the radio show.
Good morning, sir.
I do understand that you originate from Nigeria.
Yes, I am.
When is it when you chose to come to Rwanda?
2 years before I completed my PhD in marriage and family therapy in
Okay.
Kenya. So that was the time I decided, I think I needed to, because marriage and family therapy program is only done in Kenya, not anywhere in Africa.
It's only done in Kenya.
In Kenya. As of today, we are just 15 holders of PhD in marriage and family therapy in Africa, and we know ourselves.
Oh, wow.
We have so many master's students, master's holders, but as a PhD, we are just 15.
What is the difference between having a master's in marriage and family therapy and having a PhD?
Master's is just the beginning. Actually, you start your marriage and family therapy program from master's. You don't have it in a bachelor, but it's deeper. For instance, we did internship for 1 year, practicum for 8 months. Deeper of what we have started in master's. Yeah.
I have so many friends in Kenya who tell me that the relationship space there is actually gotten so complicated. It's full of games. They have so many relationship and family challenges. Could that be the reason why this program is actually there in Kenya other than anywhere else in Africa?
They might say that. See, I'm a researcher. What actually happened was a few Kenyans, Dr. Wambugu and Dr. Amos Kea, went to Canada where they studied marriage and family therapy. And they thought, why don't we bring this to Africa? And that was why they facilitated it there to Africa. Not because, it's just like houseflies. Houseflies are everywhere. You cannot say, we have houseflies more in Kigali than, no. Marriage challenges are everywhere.
So from being a researcher,
Yes,
did any research statistics give you indication or reason why you needed to come to Kigali?
Well, I was already preparing when I heard the situation here that we have challenges, and I first came for a week for a visit, and I was taken to the Memorial Center, and I know as a psychotherapist that trauma can trigger conflict. So the toxic challenges and all that happened before, definitely we need my service. And not just service, we need to establish university where they teach marriage and family therapy so that they be able to take care of all this, not just counseling. 50 of me cannot solve this problem. But if we have a university that produce psychologists and marriage and family therapists, I tell you the truth, everything will be resolved.
Listen, so when we have a university of marriage,
Yes, sir.
and people are getting, I attend weddings where they say, this is the only institution where you get the certificate at the beginning.
Yes, sir.
So you want to do the reverse, where people get the marriage certificate degree prior to actually getting into marriage. Is that what you want to do?
Not really. It's like, let people understand what they are going into.
Before they get into
to relationship. We just got in there and we are learning on the job. It's not done. Who is that person that want to become a driver and just got a car and begin to drive before he learns about it? Everybody learns something. It's only marriage we don't learn. Nobody learns anything. You say, oh, no worry. And say, is this who I got married to?
Nobody gets some people ready for marriage.
Well, what we do is you have to be a good wife, you have to be a good husband, you have to be calm and all that. That's what we are taught. But behind all these behaviors, there are underlying conditions that need to be known. I mean, everybody goes into marriage without having some serious values. Some are having some mental health issues before they go into marriage.
Most people don't even know why they're getting married.
They don't know.
They don't know.
Yes. Some 25 years ago, I began training some African church leaders, asking them to ask their members, why do you want to get married? And I've done that with some leaders myself. And I say, okay, why did you get married? They say, oh, it was the will of God. God said we should get married. Oh, I'm getting old. I said, now why do you want to get married? You have a particular reason. Hey, so there should be a reason you want to get married. You admire something. And a couple came some 15 years ago from America. And I asked the guy, why do you want to get married? He said he lost his wife. And since he had lost his wife, he had not had enough sex. And the wife is saying, I got married because I want somebody to be with me. And I said, look, you will soon divorce because this guy said he wants intimacy, and you say you don't believe in that. Guess what? 7 months, they divorced.
Oh, yeah.
The guy said, I got married because of intimacy, and you are not available. It takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. There must be a reason you get married. Sometimes some people get married because they want somebody to take care of their children because they lost their husband or they lost their wives. And the moment you are not taking care of that, so what?
They'll be out.
They be out because those people have reasons. Some might not have reasons. That's why when you get to marriage clause and all that, they say the two of you must be of normal mind, of sound mind. Some people are having mental health issues. And they say, yes, I'm ready, and they pack out and all that. But by the time they come back to their senses, they say, what am I into?
What could be one of those top reasons why someone should get married? Because from the conversations that I have with many of my peers, the essence of being married, it's just losing its ground.
Well, the only thing everybody has lost is self. You are doing something because somebody says it is normal. You are doing something because you want to please your friends. You want to fit into particular status. The question is, what do I want to use marriage to fill in my life? There's a gap in my life. So, what is it? I mean, you have a whole house, but you don't have a home. Okay, now I want to have a home. And I plan to have a home. And I have to say, okay, what are the requirements to have a home? Some people get married, the first night they sleep with each other. They got children, they never got enough economic strength. They never knew where they're going to put the child when he was born and all that and all that. So we just do things to please people or just the norms.
Earlier today, we had a conversation, and Juliana stated, why would you date if you are broke? Eventually, why would you marry someone when you know that you are broke? We got a response from somebody who said, you guys are very mean. And he said, this is my take on dating when broke. It can work if both of you understand and respect each other's circumstances, and if you focus more on emotional connection rather than material things. It also depends on whether someone feels comfortable sharing their financial situation early on, or if that becomes an issue down the line. And then you're talking about the economic strength to sustain a marriage. Is the financial aspect very critical for someone who is choosing to get married?
Yeah, extremely. I started counseling
You said extremely.
Yes. I started counseling in 1986. There are several people who will have had some challenges in their relationship, and I know that it is because they don't have money. I gave out money, and the matter is resolved. How can you say, We just have to have some connection. We just have to love each other.
Would you eat the connection?
And needs are not met.
It's like, is it omelette Wi-Fi?
So for example, you have that Wi-Fi in the house. So after Wi-Fi, what happens? Will you eat the Wi-Fi?
Of course not.
You're emotionally connected. So without money,
Emotionally connected in your problems.
yes.
Yes, you're very
How
correct.
sustainable is that? How long are you going to be emotionally connected with your problems?
That's where people are triangulating with other people. You see, some people have said, okay, I am connected to you, and we have some emotional connection, but elsewhere, I have somebody taking care of my finances.
Exactly.
So it's problem creating, problem solved. It's like we are creating a problem here just because we don't have enough economic power to sustain ourselves. There will be disloyalty. Yeah. So I think, who is that person that want to build a house that will not consider the foundation, whether we need this, we need that? We have to plan. We have to plan. See, about 90% of people here in Rwanda are Christians, and the Bible says, who is that person that want to build a house that will not first consider
The cost.
you have to consider the cost first. You have to find out. We don't plan in Africa generally. We have to plan. And I want to get married. What do I need? And how do I sustain this? Do I have children in my view? Then how would I sustain them? I don't have money.
But by God's grace, that's how we are living.
Yes. And I go to borrow money to do wedding. And am I going to sell the children by the time I got them? How do I repay?
Sell the children. That's funny.
Because you need to sustain the family.
Yes. We need to do that.
Listen, your company
Yes, sir.
is CMAT,
CMAT, yes.
CMAT Family Therapy Services.
Yes,
You do consultancy, you do mediation,
Yes, sir.
you do psychotherapy, premarital, couple, mental health, family, corporate, and reconciliation.
Yes, sir.
From your experience with some of your clients,
Yes,
what are those underlying common factors you find in relationships and families within Rwanda?
Thank you. I did it. I told you I'm a researcher. I did a research late last year, and I was planning to do one here. I already tried to look for permission with Kenya and Nigeria couples that were always having conflict. And contrary to what I have heard, I've read in articles that when you are stressed in marriage, it can plunge you into having mental health. I discovered that mental illness actually plunge people into having incessant conflict. That's what I discovered. So there are some underlying factors. We just see the behavior out there. We don't know why these people are having challenges in relationship. A lot of people are having problem with mental issues, and it can plug. They love each other. I mean, sincerely love each other, and people don't have values. You build your goals on your values, and a lot of people don't have values. They run into, maybe some people just pick some values by the time they got on the road in the journey of a relationship. And expectations are so high. And you see, in our communication, what we do is we assume this person has some yearning. Possibly when he or she was like 10 years old, I'll have a beautiful husband, I'll have a beautiful wife, we hold our hands and we dance. And by the time...
A fairy tale.
By the time he or she got married, discovered that the opposite is... and he or she is still coming with that memory, with that illusion. So by the time it's now comparing notes, oh, this is not the dream I had, and this person is just innocent. And it can cause problems. And oftentimes, what I've discovered for well over 40 years now is that you assume your wife knows what you need. and what she should do to take care of you. Your husband, the husband, you also say, okay, my husband should know the normal thing to do for me, and this is what I'm expecting. Your husband or your wife is not a magician. We don't express ourselves.
But listen, from the traditional African community, at least what I know, the list that I know
Yes, sir.
is mothers, aunties groom their children. They groom a girl to become a wife. And so maybe the expectation of men is that the girl who is coming into my life has been prepared to at least perform the basic responsibility as a wife. So when I have some expectations, I have the expectation that you have been taught, you've been groomed. Your mother spoke to you about the challenges to expect, how to treat a man, how to get into intimacy, how to initiate sex, and everything like that.
But I mean, that's an assumption that you have. The girl is groomed like that. Are you sure that that is what she went through before she was sent to you? Why should you assume? How about you grow up together and tell yourselves what exactly you want? This is me thinking.
Is that the right route?
Well, I guess you have that your thoughts. You have that thought because are you from Uganda?
Yes, I am.
Oh yes, that is it. Because in Uganda, you have
A man is worshipped.
Yeah, that is it. It's like a girl's parent train her to be a good wife. So that's why you're having that's your narrative. Now the question is, how many parents really have some time to train, to groom their daughters or their children to be husband or to be wife? Because it's like we pursue economy, we pursue money. When I was I was still conscious when I was breastfeeding. I was still conscious. I was like 6 years. I was still breastfeeding. So, how many people give their children breast milk these days? You know what we give them? Cow milk. Cow milk.
Cow. No.
Cow. So it's like they should have your breast, human breast, to think like a man, like a human being. Now you're giving them. They're thinking like a cow.
What?
So we are thinking like cows. Are you
I
saying?
mean, we call Gen Z or what? Not Gen.
Why do I feel like we are being attacked? Because we took cow milk, now we are thinking like cows.
No, did you take cow milk when you're growing up?
I did take a lot of cow
Really?
milk. Yes. I don't think I'm thinking
Combine
like a
that
cow.
with goat milk.
No, in my culture we don't do goat milk, but we do cow milk. However, it doesn't make me think like a cow.
No, you're not. No, it doesn't. I'll just give you some illustrations. So the truth is, it is one thing to be trained to take care of a home. It's another thing to accept such training or to go into it. Remember, we come from different cultures, and expectations should be explained. This is what I want. This is what I expect from you. And this is what I also think you should do. We are just assuming. Everybody's assuming. That's why we are having a lot of problems and challenges. Hey, man, don't you think what? No.
I think there is a requirement of maturity when it comes to discussing these expectations.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, I think our generation, the expectations that we're likely to discuss is sex positions, and that is it. The other expectations is a no-go zone. Expectations on how to raise children.
And that's why we're having a lot of failed marriages.
Expectations on finances is a no-go conversation because, I mean, we know we have challenges financially. Why would you talk about the money you don't have?
Well, Rome is not built in a day. We should. If we see, like I mentioned, values. You build your goals on your values. So when you are discussing your values, you talk about your expectation. What do you expect? What do I think I'm expecting from you? And we have to think about it, not just about sex. If all is done in a home is sex, got to a time that you don't even have erection because you don't have food to eat. You don't have plans. And there are other people that are doing well and somebody might want to peep and you might even look that. That's why we have a lot of mental health issues, and that's why a lot of people are taking alcohol. Because they want to suppress their feelings, their thought, and all that. So you don't just rest on where we just talk about sex position. Everything about home is not about sex. It's about
But
the future.
some people have said that a home without intimacy is good as dead. You could be rich, drive the V8, live in a very extensively big home, but when there is no intimacy, it's dead and gone. Is that true? You could have everything put together, but when the intimacy is not there, a husband busy hustling meetings from across the south of Africa into Egypt, into Europe, and only appearing for hours in his own home. Could that be a sustainable marriage or relationship in a way?
Well, there is no one size fit all. Um, for a woman, I know that whatever if you have money, you are not going to have time. If you have enough money, you have businesses and all that, you will not have time.
You will never have time.
And your wife will say, no, I need time. And if you have time for her, you might not have money. And she will now say, I need more money. So now you have to balance both. Intimacy is very good, very essential. And I've seen that that's broken many homes. If we are not intimate, and some people are even messing around with housemaid, messing around with security officers that guide their house and all that. It is necessary. Excess of anything is bad. Even too much of water can cause water intoxication. So there should be balancing.
Yes.
Everybody should have time for his spouse, for his wife, for her husband. Job is just secondary, and after all, we are still resorting to ourselves. So
I saw a research recently. I don't know if it's a research study that was mentioning, I think in Europe, that couples are being intentional on trying to save their marriages by living separately. That living together over time is also one of the causes why people are getting into conflict and friction. I don't know what your position would be regarding living separately to save your marriage. This morning, I came across a podcast. This lady said this: I am very fortunate. The man I am married to, he has his own life, and I have my own life. He has his own real career. I have my own real career. He has his light to stand in. I have my light to stand in. We also live in separate places where I go to see him. I love to see him. And when it's time to leave, I say, bye-bye, honey. See you soon. And life is good.
Wow.
that is great. That person must be non-African. Otherwise,
No, not just non-African, because close to home, I think my parents have had such a relationship where they go just check on each other.
and how many wives?
But everyone has their own children.
And they are polygamous.
Yes, they are.
But this person is talking about monogamy. This
That
person is talking about
that couple
monogamy.
doesn't sound like they're polygamous.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to have a question for Christian. Do you think we are losing the real sense of marriage
Yes.
and really defining what marriage is?
Well, we have lost it. Not that we are losing it, because in the past, marriage was defined as the smallest unit in the community, and father, mother, and children. It is no longer defined that way. When you say I'm going to meet my family, it might be a single father, a single mother, and now we have the family. We have. I mean, it's like it's no longer father, mother, and children.
What could be the cause that we're losing the real values of family and marriage?
Well, they're very. It's quite obvious. Everybody, did you hear what he read? I mean, that's one of the causes. Like that is not marriage. That is kind of like contract kind of a thing. It's like when I need you, I go to see you. And yes, it's not. This is not marriage in African context. Marriage in African context is you stay together. That's why you say family. You stay together. You can. The Bible even say that when two are better than one. You sleep on the same bed. You keep each other warm. So the definition of that person's marriage, or that I do my thing, and well, I'm not pathologizing her, but I want to say that she's having some, maybe she had some toxic childhood experience. This person that is talking, that is, you are, is good. If you find out her narrative, she possibly might have some toxic childhood experience, or maybe that was how her parent lived, and this is totally non-African.
But love is universal. I don't think we can say that love is African or love is British or love is Chinese. If love is bringing people together, I think an awareness could cause you to get to different conclusions on how you want to live your life, isn't it?
Yes, culture. You see, there's culture contact and culture clash. This person from the narrative, you asked the question the other time. Oh, I think she was the one that asked what can cause this problem in relationship. You see, there's what I call biopsychosocial condition. This person might be having some sickness, I mean physical sickness, might be taking some medicine, and might be the side effect of the medicine. If somebody took heal, and either the person knows or does, for somebody treating cancer, for instance, there's certain behavior that he or she might exhibit. Now, and maybe when this child was born, she either crushed cord or too lean or having some toxic childhood experience, and he or she might have that mentality by the time he's growing up. Sometimes it might be a psycho issue. When somebody is having some mental, I mean, it's not normal to say that is a marriage, that is not marriage, that's not what marriage should be. But she was saying it emphatically, and she was very right. I mean,
but also you were saying that from your perspective as an African, maybe that's a different culture, and that those are their values, and that's how they deal with their marriages.
no, Americans, Britons don't deal with their marriages that way. We respect homes. In Europe, they respect home. In America, in fact, in China, when you are growing up, they say parents should take care of their children. By the time the parents are getting older, they say children should take care of their parents.
Yes, the way the African setting is. So you've been in Rwanda for this long, and I'm sure you've noticed we have the highest number of divorces in Rwanda. What could be the cause of those numbers of divorces?
Hey, we do have the highest number of divorces in
Lately.
Rwanda. It's just because it's just because it's documented. There are so many people that are divorced, and you don't even know they are divorced. Look at this guy. That lady you just read about. I mean, it can culminate into something like, well, divorce is truly here. Like I mentioned that some trauma could cause it. They love each other, but they don't just understand each other any longer, and economic hardship can also cause it. Like the research I said I did, I noticed that the incessant conflict was actually caused by the underlying mental illness, not that they don't love each other. And the society also accepts it. Once the society has accepted it, if this is happening, and I'm a Yoruba person from Nigeria, marriage is not just between a man and a woman. It's between a man, his own parent, and the lady, and the parent of the lady, and the community. The community will come, the soldiers. So when you want to separate or you want to have a problem, you have to consult those ones, and they sit you down. What is the problem? But everybody is easy entry, easy exit. Everybody can get married.
As it should be. Why are we consulting our marriages? Why are we making our marriage as a community business?
Well, because we cannot just live by ourselves. I mean, when we have challenges, we have people that will come around to work with us, and I don't know whether you have noticed that in Europe now, most of the carers are from Africa. They go there to take care of their old people because the children were not taught how to. I mean, even the parents were just busy giving their kids to a house help, just like we are doing in Africa now. And the house help will train these kids, and by the time the parents are also old, that they take them to old people's home, and somebody who take care of them. It's garbage in, garbage out. So it's like in Africa, we stay together, we respect community, we respect people, and they talk to us. And old people will now counsel the younger ones. Oh, this is how you treat your wife. This is how that happened. That's how we're wired in Africa. So community should be responsible to taking care, at least as counselors. They are grand counselors. They talk, they train, and all that. Ever before we have formal education, the formal education bring us to that kind of a thing.
I want us to bring this conversation to a close because we've shot through time and we have the news coming next.
Okay,
and
sorry.
This will be the last question. I believe we need to have Christian back, okay? And we will definitely have you back on the show. In Africa,
Yes, sir.
and away from Africa, there are women, because I think we have new information, new age information, which is contending with the culture that we already know. But new age information and voices of women now advocating that a man having more than one wife is actually good for the women themselves and also good for the sustaining of a home. What are your thoughts when this is coming from women?
Well, I think I first noticed that in Kenya, I think that last year, they advocated for it. And
you did advocate for it?
Yeah, I think they advocated for it.
Or they advocated for
yes,
it?
They did,
okay.
yes. And Africa is polygamous. Africa is polygamous, and the whites that came to colonize us said no, monogamous. That's okay, but then they left monogamy, and now you just read now that somebody said they're just visiting each other, and now some people just separated completely, some divorced completely. But it is innate. If you have a communication with your wife, of course, why do you want to go and get married to get two
But who
wives?
is this one who's advocating for polygamous family?
There are some ladies that said no. In fact, some are a third wife or fourth wife that they advocated for it.
Because one woman says, I cannot have it all, and I want my man to be happy.
Well, you don't consider the underlying conditions. See, some people are having, like I told you, I'm a mental health practitioner. I know people that are speaking, that are voicing out, and that are saying a lot of things, but they are doing that under the influence of mental health issue. But people don't know. So sometimes when they take their medicine or they are diagnosed and they now say, oh, did I say that?
The ones who asked for that must have not taken their medication by then.
You are contending for your home anyway. Well, whatever that happens, it is whatever the couple agreed to do should be accepted, not what society imposed on them. Some ladies will never want that.
Christian is coming from CIMAT. It's a family therapy services company. They do consultancy, mediation, psychotherapy, premarital counseling, couple counseling, mental health, family, corporate, and reconciliation. They also have a website, which is CMAT family-therapy-services.site. Christian, I would definitely invite you back on Kigali in the morning. We've shot through time because, I mean, we've just been hitting on top of everything, but we'd like to have these conversations more and more. After all, it's coming in from a scholar, a researcher, a PhD holder. 15 minutes after 9 o'clock, news is up next.
Kigali in the morning brings you the 8 at 8. 8 big questions.